Hello, friends. Welcome to another Word of Gord. This afternoon, a challenging and interesting topic, channeling famous historical personalities. Now, this has been done quite a bit, and it is something that I have been asked about on more than one radio interview over the years. I've done quite a bit of radio, and quite often you will get people phoning in with these type of questions. And the historical personality one gets asked about perhaps the most is Hitler. For some reason, not Stalin, not Pol Pot, but Hitler. Amongst that gallery of rogues, he seems to occupy the leading role. Although there's been many other dictators and despots that have massacred with great fervor foreigners and their own countrymen. Hitler seems to always get to be the star that people want to ask me about. And such discussions inevitably slide into the whole notion of evil, good, and the mirror images that they are of each other, and how we learn by experience as souls, how we learn by joy, by suffering, and all the other paths that there are open to us. Now, I haven't channeled Hitler myself, haven't attempted, but others have, and I'm going to quote from some of them today. Now, I'd like to place this discussion in the context of other areas of channeling in the last 20 odd years. For example, the channeled entity Seth, made famous by the efforts and work of Jane Roberts. Now, in the middle of Jane Roberts' career as a channeler, Seth and her put out a book called The Individual and Nature of Mass Events, which was quite an event in the New Age community of its day, mainly because Seth spoke of souls involved in disasters and tragedies choosing to do so ahead of time, i.e. people involved in, say, a plane crash in which 200 or 300 people die would choose that particular fate in the months and weeks ahead of that particular crash. And those that did not choose to be having that fate at that time would find some reason not to be on that plane, perhaps just at the last minute. Getting caught in traffic, having a car that would break down, that sort of thing. And I do recall much discussion between myself and others in the New Age community over that, what was then startling revelation, that this could be possible, that this was happening. So in that context, let's move forward a little to the last maybe 10 years in which various regressionists have worked to access information in the between life period when we're out of incarnation, making our plans from paradise, as it were. And it would seem from the testimonies of many that we choose our incarnations, if not down to the last detail, then certainly in the broad strokes of family nation, religion, general social and economic setup. This is, well, just not commonplace in most people's understandings. It is becoming better and better known that we do such planning. Now, I wouldn't say everyone accepts this, but it's becoming more and more out into the open and more discussed. So that those of us who are concerned with such matters feel that while not everything is planned down, as I said, to the last detail, the major trends and events are set up as challenges for ourselves, souls in bodily form, challenges from which we can learn if we choose to do so, or challenges in which we can just experience the tragedy and suffering of those challenges. Sometimes the suffering is a lesson in and of itself. Separation from loved ones, separation from one's talents, one's ambitions, the denial of fulfillment of various kinds. All of these things can be worthwhile experiences in and of themselves. So in that context, let me move to some books where our star of the evening, Hitler, is quoted, channeled and quoted. Now, the first one I'd like to go to is a book from about 15 years ago called Beyond Death, Conditions in the Afterlife by Philip Solomon and Hans Holzer. Now, here we have Hitler as the personality that he was in life, in this life. Later we will see him as a soul beyond the personality and character of Hitler. But right now, in this channeling from around 2000, 2001, he is still pretty much fully in the personality of Hitler. So we'll start with a question here. And these are quite long channelings. I'll only be doing small excerpts just for time restraints. Can I stop you there for a minute, Mr. Hitler? Do you not accept that you were responsible for the countless murders of innocent people in the camps? I do not accept that I was responsible. It was others who were responsible. It was their fault, not mine. But you were the leader. You were in charge. Why will you not accept it was not my fault? I was not responsible. I did not know these things were happening. And though many in the West will tell you I did not know they were happening. Do you deny that you had a hatred of people because of the color of their skin, their religion, or what they were? I hated all whom I thought stopped my people, the great German people, from progressing to their rightful place as leaders of the world. I still believe that. I still love the German, Aryan people, but I am sorry for the things that have happened and that I have been blamed for. I am sorry for these things. There are many mediums in this world, in your world, who claim they have communicated with me. They have not. Only you so far. Did you not also create a war upon the Western world? I did not. I took back what belonged to Germany, that had been taken away unfairly, and other nations declared war on us. But again, I am sorry for these things, and I am progressing in the spirit world. Can I ask you where you are? What level existence are you on? I am on the first level, where many bad people are. I should not be with them. Very shortly I shall progress to higher levels, where my influences will be much stronger, and I shall be able to come through to your world, and I will be able to explain things more positively. This time will come very shortly. It has taken me a long time to understand that I made mistakes, mistakes that I am sorry for, but I will not be blamed for that which was not my fault. I wish to progress now and move to higher levels. And a little later, I am sorry for many things I did in my life. I am sorry for all the mistakes I'd made, but I should not be blamed for all these things. The Russians were to blame for many of the problems in the world and many lies about me, and they tell many lies about me. I have come to you today to tell you of the world I have existed for in many of your earth years, and to warn others not to be evil or to be bad or to follow bad pathways. For those who follow these ways in your world will come to a place that is indeed terrible, where you cannot have the kinship of the ones you love. For if they are good people, they will be on a higher level of existence. And for me, my life on this first level, which is not that far from your world, it is often very dark. Now, there's quite a bit more in that channeling, but we've only got time for so much. So, a newer channeling from the last couple of years. The book is called Talking with Leaders of the Past by Peter Watson Jenkins and Tony Ann Winninger. In this book, they talk to Einstein, Bernard Russell, Carl Jung, Charles Darwin, Florence Nightingale, Mahatma Gandhi, Winston Churchill, William James. You get the general impression. And very good book too. Highly recommend this. Talking with Leaders of the Past. Very thought-provoking, very in-depth questioning, very knowledgeable, well-researched questions by Peter Watson Jenkins. He really knows his stuff, and I congratulate him for that, because mediums often don't do that much research. So in this channeling, we'll be given the soul as Hitler, still in his personality, and the graduated soul, the higher self, who has gone beyond the personality concerns and is a higher self full of understanding, shall we say. And very interesting this is too. Let me see. The history of what you did suggests you were a dangerous psychotic. I am asking you to deny that that is true. Of course I deny it. I was a genius. I was creating a utopia. And but for the underlings who went against me, I would have succeeded. We would be ruling the world at this time if betrayals had not existed. Are utopias created with the blood of millions of people who die at some dictator's hand? Yes, if those people are not fit to be part of the new society. They are the foundation upon which we can rise up and build. They are the fertilizer for our crop. Adolf, I see you as simply as evil. And I wonder, when did you make the decision to be evil? Was it in the First World War? I don't perceive myself as evil. I see myself as a dictator, a director. I see myself as the one who could be followed by the right people to create a magnificent empire. If that is evil, what of the other heads of countries? Are they evil? The other heads of countries had not put the whole of Europe to the sword and thrown away the lives of millions and had grandiose ideas to rule the world. You were unique in that respect. I was no more unique than Attila the Hun, Alexander the Great, or other earlier leaders who sequestered large land masses off the backs of the people who were living there, and accomplished that by plundering and pillaging. The great conquerors. You became the Nazi Party Führer. What was your main ambition at that time? To be God on earth to people. When did you forge that ambition? As people began following me, as people hung on every word, as I felt power radiating out, as I felt the way people reacted to my presence, I knew that this was my destiny. Did you believe in God? I believed in the power that controlled the occult. I believed in the symbols in existence that came from an all-powerful source. I believe in and even searched for the Ark of the Covenant, because within it was the answer to eternal life. I believed in the power of rituals performed by masses of people. Did you believe in heaven and hell? No, that was a strictly religious concept. I believed in reincarnation, and I believed that I was, in fact, fulfilling the destiny that I had begun in another life. Well, it didn't end up as you wanted. What was your biggest mistake? Churchill's Britain, the Eastern Front, declaring war on America, or something else? Getting America involved. That was probably the biggest mistake because they brought in supplies, determination, and forces that I had not anticipated. I had grossly underestimated what they would bring to the table. You don't acknowledge a mistake in going as Napoleon went before you to the gates of Moscow? No, but it resulted in your German army being wiped out in Russia at Stalingrad. A lot of that had to do with the fact that the leaders in the field did not fulfill their obligations to the Reich. So you can see the general trend there. And now in the dialogue with Hitler's soul, the soul that has gone beyond the personality of Hitler, some more interesting shall I say, points of view, which I think will provoke discussion. The Holocaust survivor Eli Wiesel wrote about you as follows. I take on this essay with fear and trembling because although defeated, although dead, this man is frightening. He saw you as the incarnation of absolute evil. Now that you are back home, do you see yourself as the incarnation of absolute evil? I saw the person whose part I was playing at that time as being what a human would consider absolute evil. But I am no different from any other soul who plays a part in order to learn physical lessons and to help others with their lessons. I was selected and agreed with others to be evil incarnate on the planet during the time I was Adolf Hitler. You say selected and agreed with others. Can you be more specific? First, I would clarify that the energy you are speaking to now is not the energy you have previously spoken to. That was the force of the energy of the human Adolf as he existed. That was to give you a taste of the energy which is sustained in a personality or physical being. You now speak with the sum of the soul energy that at one time played the role, if you will, of the person your history knew as Adolf Hitler. When we are at home before incarnating, we plan what we ourselves wish to learn. We then make contracts with numbers of others, souls, who wish to experience this or that while coexisting with us. My agreement was to be a despicable despot and theirs to be my victims. Can you hop in and out of that energy when you have come home? Yes, you can go back and revisit any of your prior existences, parts, plays, whatever you want to call them. Tell me about the choice that was made and why it was made. We are in our soul form at home. That is who you are speaking to now, the soul form of the person who was at one time on the planet as Adolf Hitler. Before entering into that lifetime, I conveyed the idea that something had to change in the consciousness of the planet. We had to put forth to the people the necessity for compassion throughout the planet, because that concept had not been thoroughly ingrained in the people and was not disseminated among the masses. We came up with this idea, we being myself and millions of other souls, that a way to do it was to show gross humanity as measured by what humans themselves perceived as inhumanity to man. With this, we would develop a wave of compassion throughout the planet, which would provide a framework for compassion from that point on throughout human history. This was then arranged so that I would be a ruthless, immoral psychotic. So you admit that you were psychotic. I was in that lifetime psychotic, and although I would not have admitted it in that persona, yes, I did play the psychotic. Who but a psychotic would be so ruthless, so unthinking, uncaring, uncompassionate, and diabolically cruel? You said that millions of spirits were involved in this decision. Yes, all of the victims who went to their deaths in the camps, and all of my countrymen who chose to be ruthless mini-psychotics, and all the ones who worked in the camps. A perfect example is Mengele and his experiments, and all who volunteered to be his guinea pigs. So it could be written into the patterns of what is just not done to another human being. Why does the Creator permit such a decision to be made? What you are doing is taking and creating a God form out of humanity. You are creating, as most of the religions do, a man in a white beard and a white robe. But that which is God is the energy within all of us. Each of us is a piece of creation. When we return home, we are rejoined with that larger creative energy. So it is with the consciousness of creation that we agree. There does not have to be a consent by one person, one soul, God. It is the agreement of all the energy, whom some of you call the God force, that sets up a negative pattern so that we may experience all these things, even if what we choose to experience may be totally unthinkable and abhorrent to the majority of people in human form at the time when it occurs. We see it as a lesson or as an experience that we wish to feel in human form. So was this experiment conducted with the approval of millions of souls a success? It was a success for the majority of those who have been in human form since then, those who have been able to feel what went on, those who were able to feel the abject evil, the abject hopelessness of the victims. This has created a compassion for all who might be placed in a situation where things are so totally beyond their control and unjustified. But you weren't able to stop Pol Pot, who came later in his slaughter of innocent people. That was coming from a different realm. That was in a country with a conflict between different tribes. That was another example. My example as Hitler was more massive, involving many communities and countries. Pol Pot was for philosophical rather than driven by a desire for genetic purity. What was the reason they were so keen to pick you for this job? I volunteered. What was the basis for your volunteering? It was from previous life experiences. I had spent time as a marauder in a number of different lifetimes. Part of it was I had come up with the concept of a way to create a wave of compassion throughout the entire planet. Some people will feel that a sense of relief at the thought that you will not be coming back as another marauder. Now tell me about Satan. To talk about Satan is to talk about the duality of energy. Satan was chosen by the source, by the God force, to be the opposite of what could be felt and perceived as the God force, which is unconditional love, goodness, kindness, sweetness. Satan was chosen to be the exact opposite of that, to be absolute evil, injustice, hatred. At the point of origin, Satan and the God force are the same. Was Satan your Führer? Did you take orders from him? No, Satan does not exist as a person, just as the old man with the white beard and the white robe does not exist. There is not one force that is Satan, with red robes and horns and a pitchfork. What does the Creator achieve by permitting evil? to be able to experience and know the greatness of what we are. We cannot truly comprehend unconditional love unless we know what the absence of unconditional love is like. Now, provocative words, I know, and I will be continuing with these themes, choosing our lifetimes and the opinions of famous historical personalities another time. But I thank you all for your attention in this one, which will likely be a part 1. And I bless you all, whatever your opinions on the matter at hand. Do go forth in peace and love and understanding.